Even as most churches conducted services on Sunday in their sanctuaries here in Nairobi City, most churches streamed their services on online platforms as worshippers followed or participated from their homes. The government had ordered churches to suspend their services to contain coronavirus pandemic that has been reported in the country. Christ is the Answer Ministries, CITAM, is one of the churches that allowed its congregation to follow the service from home as the presiding bishop, Reverend Dr. David Ogenda, taught on the topic, Fear Not. The bishop, who addressed the press later on, said church is more than the four walls of the structure. The bishop said the service reached even a wider audience online, adding taking precautions in line with the government's directive is not an act of fear or cowardice.
Definitely this is a very unique time, and we have never been this way before. But it was a very exciting experience to prepare ourselves, knowing that they are not just the normal thousands that we speak to on a Sunday morning, but there are possibly millions or hundreds of thousands of people who would be watching from all over the world. Already we have responses that we are receiving on our Facebook pages, on YouTube and other social media platforms from different parts of the world. Those are people who would normally not reach on a Sunday morning. So this to us is actually a very unique opportunity to speak to many more people. Obviously it was different to speak in an empty church with no people, but one has to imagine that people are watching out there, that people are listening. And so just speak to their hearts and to their minds, because many of them are watching not just for the sake of watching, but actually waiting to hear the voice of God. We are aware that when people crowd together, definitely we are bringing ourselves into danger. And so actually this morning, part of my message was that whereas we have faith, faith is not reckless. Faith is believing what God has said and trusting in God, but still taking necessary precautions. When we leave our houses, we shut our doors, lock them up. We have guards at our gates. We take insurances. That is not lack of faith. It is simply doing what you know you should do, so that you don't say, I wish I did this or I wish I did the other. But ultimately we know that security is from God. Unless the Lord watches over the house, those people who watch it stay awake in vain. That's what the Bible says. But that doesn't then mean that you leave your door open as you go away or as you sleep. You take necessary precautions. So what the government is telling us is that let's take precaution. There are some of our church leaders who feel that this is acting in fear and we are not moving in faith. I think that is a bit reckless, because when people then get in contact with possibly a person who has the virus, it is not written on anybody's face so that you can tell from the entry that this person is contaminated or is infected. So we just take necessary precaution, and in the midst of this trouble and the midst of what is happening, God is still able to work through us as church leaders, as ministers in different ways.